Okay, so in this video, we are pitting the all-new Amazon Fire Max 11 against the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite here, the beloved Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite here. Let's go ahead and jump in. First things first, I want to do something different here. I want to give you my take first, then we'll dive into the details as to why. Without a doubt, if you're in the market for either one of these two, the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite is the one to go for. And of course, we're going to dive into the details here. But anyways, in case you were not aware, Amazon came out with an all-new tablet, the Max 11 here, or the Fire Max 11 here, which is said to be their most powerful and productivity tablet, at least from their perspective. And of course, that could be, all relative, right? So it's a productivity tablet for Amazon, but in the world of just Android in general, it's not a productivity tablet, right? In fact, something like the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite, which is, in my humble opinion, much better than this one, is still not even considered a productivity tablet. This is not a pro tablet, even though it's a better tablet than what we have with what Amazon calls a productivity tablet. Apologies if it seems like I'm just beating down on the Amazon Fire here. I promise it's just to kind of, get some context going there. But let's go ahead and talk about just some of the specs, and then we can do some comparison, and then we can see if you, by the end of this video, still think that the Tab S6 Lite, like I do, if you think that the Tab S6 Lite here is a better tablet. All right, so let's start off with size. What you have here is an 11 inches IPS display, which, by the way, is better than what you have on the Tab S6 Lite, which is a TFT display. The resolution that you have on the Tab S6 Lite would be 2000 by 1200, and that's the same resolution you have on the Amazon Fire Max 11 here. And of course, PPI would be a little bit, it's a bit more dense on the Tab S6 Lite here because it's a slightly smaller tablet at 10.4 inches. So technically, images are a bit sharper on the Tab S6 Lite here, but overall, the colors are a bit more vibrant on the Fire Max 11 here. So it's gonna be up to you to see if you, and of course, image quality is also sharp, but it just seems a tiny bit sharper here. So if you were to ask me which is better in terms of picture quality, I'd say the Amazon Fire 11 picture quality is slightly, a tiny bit better here when you put them side by side and you compare. But I also feel like it's a bit more warm that I would like on the Max 11 here. And that is that. Another thing that the Max 11 has that you don't have on the Tab S6 Lite would be a fingerprint sensor. So here you have a power button, and in that power button, you have a fingerprint sensor embedded in there, right? So whereas the power button here is simply a power button. Under to unlock the tablet, you would use your code or password. Here you could use code, password, and that power button. Now, another thing that the Fire Max has that the Tab S6 Lite doesn't have will be these pogo pins that you would need in order to dock this on the keyboard cover that is tailor-made for this here. And you don't have one for this here. You could definitely buy, a third-party keyboard and then just dock this on the case and be able to use it without any issues. But here it's a bit more native where you could just dock it. You do have a headphone jack on the Tab S6 Lite, and you don't have that on the Max 11 here. On the Max 11 here, you have an 8 megapixel main camera on the back, and you also have an 8 megapixel main camera on the back of the Tab S6 Lite. But on the front, you have an 8 megapixel on the Max 11 and a 5 megapixel on the Tab S6 Lite. Now, let me tell you this, despite having slightly different specs in terms of cameras, they both seem to be about the same to me. If anything, I'm actually feeling like the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite here has slightly better images, even though the selfie camera on the Max 11 here is an 8 as opposed to a 5 that you have here, but that could just be me. Otherwise, it's kind of like the same level of cameras. They work well for video calling. Just make sure that the setting you in is well lit. You would have no issues. And finally, of course, sticking to the physical attributes, right now we have USB Type-C ports here, and these are both 2.0. Also, another thing to keep in mind is that the placement of the camera on the Tab S6 Lite is on portrait mode here, whereas on the Max 11 here, you have that on landscape mode. Now, when it comes down to just the design of the tablets themselves, I personally prefer the design of the Tab S6 Lite. It seems to be a bit more modern, even though they both seem to be, gunning for that premium feel and look. The Tab S6 Lite certainly seems to be a bit more modern and a bit more premium than, you know, the Amazon Fire Max 11 that we have here. Now let's jump in on the inside. What you have in terms of the chipset on the Max 11 here would be a MediaTek MT8188, whereas on the Tablet 6 Lite, what you have here is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 720. So you can see that the decision can be easily made there if you want to go ahead and choose one based off of chipset, right? So MediaTek, you have Snapdragon, mid-range Snapdragon chipset here. Now they both are pushing 64 gigs of internal storage, expandable at up to 1 terabyte, right? You also have 4 gigs of RAM with either one of these two tablets, which pretty much places them kind of in the same category. And I believe I missed out on one thing when I was doing physical attributes. The speakers, right? The speakers on the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite are simply better speakers. They're not necessarily louder, but they're crispier. The sound quality coming out is much better than what you have on the Max 11 here. So dual setup speakers on the side here. So holding the tablets this way, your tablet this way would be nice so that you don't cover the speakers and sound quality could come out. Same here, dual setup for the speakers, and this time on the, so they're firing up as opposed to the side like it is the case with the Tab S6 Lite. I prefer for it to fire to the side so you can kind of hear it from the right side and from the left side, as opposed to the speakers like what we have on the Max 11 here that are firing upwards. I'm sorry, it's been a long day. And that's going to be that. And let's talk battery here. On the Max 11 here, you have a larger battery that actually seems to last a bit longer than what I have with the Tab S6 Lite. But in either case, these are one-day batteries. So of course you use during the day, and then at the end of the day, you go ahead and plug that in the charger and you'll be good to go the next day. Let's go ahead and talk just user experience. In terms of user experience, the Tab S6 Lite is a more traditional Android tablet, so it's going to offer you a much better user experience overall, right? Because everything is prepped and tailor-made and so well optimized in a way where, you know, your user experience is really just top-notch without any ads, anything interrupting your user experience. Whereas here, I went for the base model here at $229, which comes with ads, meaning, you know, of course, anytime you go into the tablet, you see ads, and then of course you have to swipe that away before you go ahead and start using the tablet. And not only that, it's not your traditional, it's not your typical, you know, Android user experience. This is, you know, an Amazon tablet, and the user experience here is more of an Android, an open source Android type of thing going there. You know, you don't have the Google Play here. You have to sideload things. It's not as clean as what you would have on the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6. Like, if personally, if I were in the market for either one of these two, just some of the extra steps and complication and kind of just going off the grid and like some of the gray area just to gain access to the mainstream apps that I typically use would discourage me from going for the Amazon Fire Max 11 here, because you can pretty much get this one, the Tab S6 Lite, and immediately have access to Chrome, immediately have access to Gmail or Yahoo, or, you know, directly download games, I mean, YouTube is actually already preloaded here. You have access to that, all of that directly. Whereas here, you have to probably go online, try to read up some of the steps that some people post online to see how you can sideload Google Play in order to potentially access, you know, the more mainstream, you know, apps and all that stuff. And by the way, this is not me telling you to go ahead and do that. The disclaimer here, don't blame me if you break your tablet by sideloading. I'm not saying you will break it. I haven't heard anyone saying that they broke the tablet sideloading things on their Amazon tablet. You certainly can if you want to go ahead and access, you know, the regular YouTube and all of the other apps. You can sideload that, but do that at your own risks. With that being said, overall user experience is just much better on the Tab S6 Lite. There's no question about it. All the way to the stylus experience, right? So with the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite here, you have an S Pen that comes with the tablet, and with the Amazon Fire Max here, you have an Amazon pen that you can buy separately to use with the tablet. And user experience, not even close. The Samsung S Pen is a much better user experience. Like, not even close, they're not even in the same category. The Amazon Fire pencil that you have here, when you use it on the Amazon tablet, on the Max 11 here, it feels just like a capacitive pencil, meaning it's not optimized for anything. Latency is pretty long, you know, there's a long lag there, and, you know, pressure sensitivity works, but not as well as it does on the Tab S6 Lite. And of course, Tab S6 Lite has additional, options, because you have to remember this is a native pencil. In fact, when you purchase a tablet, it automatically comes with the pencil, whereas the Amazon Fire Max 11 here, you have to purchase a tablet and then of course go either buy the Amazon pencil for $35 or go ahead and buy another or capacitive pencil in order to be able to use. So since we're talking about extra things that come with the tablet, when you buy this tablet, currently it's going for 200, I believe 230 or 250, I don't remember. It's either you probably find it for 230 or 250, and that would come with that S Pen, whereas the Max 11 here would be 230 for just the tablet, and then it'll be an additional $35 for the pen, for a grand total of $265, and that will be for the tablet that comes with ads, by the way. So if you want the Fire Max 11 that doesn't come with ads, then you would simply have to pay more money in order to get the ads-free Fire Max. Now, in terms of productivity, like I mentioned, even though Amazon states that this is their productivity tablet, it still won't be able to see the level of productivity that you can get from the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite, where you could do split screen, you could split the screen in 3. Here, you can only split the screen in 2. So far, that's what I've been able to, whereas on the Tab S6 Lite, you could do it in 3 in tablet mode. Now, if you want to really up that productivity, then you can just enable Samsung DeX. And to those of you not familiar with Samsung DeX, it's essentially a program that turns your tablet, it turns the interface to mimic that of a laptop, right? So essentially you could just have floating windows everywhere and just tap, flipping, going back and forth, toggling back and forth in between different windows, and really be super productive using this. So again, not even close in terms of competition, right? But anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead and give you my take here. Really don't wanna keep going here. If you're in the market for either one of these two tablets, just simply buy the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite. Just buy it. Even if you had $230 and the Tab S6 Lite here is $250, add the $20 and go for the Tab S6 Lite. It is much worth it, because the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite is going to be supported by Samsung, a well-renowned, well-established brand. They're going to be supporting it. You have, the regular, Android. It's going to be updated to Android 14 and so forth. So you have to go for this. Not only that, it's a solid ecosystem. So if you had other Samsung devices, you could just establish some level of continuity in between your devices. So without a doubt, and I cannot emphasize this enough, if you are looking at these two, there's no question you should even be doubting. Simply watch this video because you're just trying to see how much better the Tab S6 Lite is when compared to the Amazon Fire Max 11 here. That's just my take. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comment section. Do you have any questions? Let me know in the comment section. I will try my best to answer those questions as soon as I can. And I know a lot of people who already own the Tab S6 Lite will be able to chime in or also tell you what the experience has been like using the Tab S6 Lite and why you should go for it as opposed to the Max 11 here, which, by the way, I'm not saying that's a bad tablet. I'm just saying this is a better one. The Tab S6 Lite is a better one. Anyways, make sure to share this video if you know anyone who is currently in the market or who's trying to buy either one of these two. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, of course, if you haven't done so already. I will catch you in the comment section like I do to answer your questions. I'm also going to catch you in the next video, of course. Up until that next video, as always, stay safe out there.